Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back, I should say. Guess I made a few videos now. Just wanted to go ahead and drive the S2000 and talk about it while I'm driving, give you guys some little pros and cons. A little bit about me, a little bit about why I love this car. I believe it's one of the best cars ever made, in my opinion. I mean, I haven't drove exotics and some crazy stuff, but I've had, like I said in the last video, about 35 vehicles now, something like that. I kind of just stopped counting, to be honest. Most of that was when I was a little bit younger. Wanted to buy them, fix them up, do all this cool stuff. I mean, most of it was quantity over quality back then. I was learning how to work on vehicles. I kind of taught myself ever since I was 16. I started with a little Honda Accord. My parents kind of helped me out. They put a little down payment on that. Didn't have it for long. I ended up, very, very new to vehicles, not understanding how all that stuff worked. I had put a set of wheels on it that the tires were bald and ended up wrecking that in the Florida rain. It just wants to downpour out of nowhere. So, from that, I was out of a vehicle for a little while. I was 16 still, having to, get rides to work or whatever, and ended up saving up over the course of 3 months. Saved up about 900 bucks and went out and bought I believe it was a 1996 Del Sol. It was blue, it was wrecked in the front end. Ended up doing like a 99 to 2000 EK front swap on that. As well as like gutting the interior and some eBay and Amazon parts. Nothing that was great by any means. I definitely learned over the course of time that quality is pretty important, not only when it comes to work and work ethic, but also the parts that you're installing. Even if you have the greatest level of quality and eye for care and all that, but you're sitting here installing cheap parts, I mean, they're not going to last generally. They sometimes you might overpay something for name. So sometimes it's kind of worth kind of doing your research, stuff like that. But back then for me it was really just about quantity over quality. I was just buying as much as I could for as cheap as I could, thinking, oh yeah, it's going to be such a cool car, and finding great deals or whatnot. But that wasn't the case. So as I got older, kind of matured a little bit. After that I traded that for a Civic. I slammed it down to the ground, put some red energy seats in it, and actually that one I put a eBay steering wheel on. That was like 3 months after. The steering wheel actually popped off while I was driving one day to school. Really scary, going like 70 miles an hour with a bad alignment. The steering wheel pops off, but like I said, lessons learned. Luckily I learned, nobody was hurt. After that, got a little Integra GSR, got a 350Z, got a S2000. That was the one that ended up getting wrecked. And then from there I moved on to different vehicles, tried newer things. I had a Acura TLX, I have a bagged RLX now, a truck, some other stuff like that. So anyways, that's kind of getting off topic. As far as getting into me, I've worked on vehicles for 10 years now, mainly Hondas. I love Hondas and Acuras. I've worked on Nissan at a couple of Nissan dealerships, worked at independent shops, worked on heavy equipment. I've kind of self-taught on how to weld a little bit. I've just done some like basic projects. And then, I had some help from some people as well, as far as like, stick or MIG or trying to perfect that or whatnot. By no means, the best at all that stuff. I try to learn, I try to teach myself, I try to challenge myself and learn new things. So I think you'll definitely see that on the channel if you stick around. I love challenges, I love going out there and trying new stuff. I also love my hobbies and my stuff I have. So, I have my 2018 Sierra. It's like it was more of a work truck for me, but I've done some stuff to it, made it my own taste or whatnot. As well as the S2000. The S2000, I've done a ton of stuff. I mean, over the years. I mean, realistically, it was mostly maintenance, repairs, whatnot. But if I can remember everything off the top of my head, like I have a Putty Mod AP1 drive shaft on this thing, due to the OEM drive shaft ended up actually leaking and spewing fluid everywhere. So I ended up upgrading that. It has the ACT Pressure plate, you know, the upgraded pressure plate, so it holds a little bit more power. Right now I'm still stock. I do plan on going for about 300 to 400 horsepower. You know, turbo hopefully soon, but you know, it might be a little bit. It also depends on, you know, obviously if this takes off or finances change or whatnot, maybe it'll happen sooner, and maybe not. But you know, it would be good content. I'm sure you guys would love to watch me, maybe a little time-lapse video or something of installing a turbocharger on this thing, taking it out to a dyno, and then, you know, tracking it, maybe seeing a little before and after. If that's something you guys are interested in, obviously I'll be going out to the track more. My next track day, I'm going to be getting the finished set of tires on this thing, so it'll have a full set of Firehawk Indy 500s on it, and that's pretty much just like a decent starting point. Obviously, the biggest thing's gonna be driver mod. You know, I'm not really gonna look at modding the car too much until I actually get some more seat time and I start getting better myself. But another thing, you know, after the tires are set, I'll probably be looking at, you know, a steering wheel and a good seat. Maybe harness bar and harnesses, but probably not right off the bat. But the steering wheel and the seat will definitely be a big help, because I'm 6 foot, I'm a little tall for this thing. Sometimes, you know, driving it, my back hurts, my butt hurts, I gotta put my knees up by the steering wheel and stuff. So my kid was actually messing with me the other day about that, the way that I drive. But you know, he loves this thing too. My wife, I'll take her out sometimes in this if we get away from the kid and everything, and we'll go out. We have a blast. It's really a great car, not only for car enthusiasts, but also just, you know, to go out and cruise, take the top off, enjoy the atmosphere. You know, I don't even drive with the radio sometimes. I used to drive this thing to work years ago, and one of my last, I think my second one that I had, and I'd do a hour drive to work, and I'd get there and I'd realize, oh wow, I didn't have the radio on the whole time. So I don't know, to me that kind of shows, like, you know, if you can be in a vehicle and be completely consumed by like just its character and its aura, I suppose, if you will, kind of shows like that vehicle, you know, I don't know, I believe, you know, certain cars have character, certain cars have you know, like their own charisma and stuff. So the S2000 to me is something near and dear to my heart. I'll always try to have one of these. Hopefully nothing ever happens to this one, but you know, if it does, and if it's not rebuildable, I'll definitely want to look at getting another one, because it's just something about this car. I mean, a little bit of a backstory. I mean, I'm not super knowledgeable on all this stuff, but with the S2000, it was actually made as a retirement project for the designers that made the NSX. So the lead designers of the NSX, they actually made this as a retirement project. This was like their baby, especially the CR. Apparently the CR, and I believe it was like Apex Blue or something, was like their favorite. I'm not as big of a fan as the CR, but I've also never drove it. For me, it's just a little bit of I don't know, it's a little too much of like a collector's item, I suppose. Like, this is a 2002 Honda S2000 with 174,000 miles on it and counting. You know, it's beat up, it's got peeling paint, it's got flaked paint. It's not the prettiest thing in the world by any means, and it's just going to get worse as I drive it and I track it and stuff like that. So maybe one day, if I can, you know, have a few of these and have one to keep in a garage and the other ones I drive, one I take on Sundays or something, then I can kind of see having a clean one. But I mean, these cars are absolutely amazing to drive. I mean, the shifting in them is super, you know, notchy, precise. It's a short throw from factory. You don't even have to do anything to mod these. The best mod you can do for this shifter is actually just replace with OEM parts the factory bushings and grease and stuff. So that was just a little 60 pull. I mean, nothing crazy. The car's not fast by any means, but especially when you take the top off on this thing, I mean, you won't be able to hear me as well, but it is a completely different vehicle. I mean, you get the engine sound, you get the exhaust sound, and like I said, right now the exhaust is stock on this, so it's not even anything crazy. I think my last one, I had a Type 1 Racing 70mm all the way back from header all the way back, and it was extremely loud, but it was so fun. But anyways, besides the point, I mean, it's just it's a great vehicle. It's a great all-around vehicle. You can daily it. I used to daily mine all the time. I drive it, sometimes when I can. If I have a day off or a day I can kind of get away from everybody, but I don't drive it as much as I want to, and obviously I want to change that. Trying to focus more on, what I want in life and the goals that I want to achieve and things I want to do. And hopefully, all this is a part of that as well. I'm looking to start my own business. I've had it out there for a little while, and hopefully, I can get some bites and things to pick up and take off, and maybe down the road, if I'm lucky, and if you guys are all a part of this, that's great. But, maybe down the road I can, end up opening my own performance shop or something like that. It is really the goal. So, but for now, I'm looking at just trying to get out there, maybe do some mobile work, maybe do a little repair shop or something like that. And then, down the road, if I can get into performance, that'd be awesome. And I can do kind of a, work on weekdays, race on weekends kind of thing, which would be the ultimate dream in my opinion. But kind of back to the car. So, like I said, in 2002, they were introduced back in 1999 for the Japan fleet. For American, it was 2000 to 2003 was the AP1, and 2004 to 2009 was the AP2, the second generation. In my opinion, the AP1, and that's just me personally, I prefer the AP1. I know this is probably going to start a little bit of a fight or whatever it always does between the AP2 and AP1 guys. The AP2 is kind of more of like a watered down S2000 to me. I've drove both. The AP2 is a great car. I feel like it's more daily friendly. The AP2 is more daily friendly. The AP1 is more of like a track car, weekend car, or even just a fun street car. It's got a little bit more harsh suspension. The gearbox is brass synchros instead of the AP2 gets the carbon synchros, so it's a little softer in the AP2. And then your red line goes all the way out to 9,000. The AP2 guys always like to argue that, oh yeah, well, we have more torque, and it's like, well, you guys have 8 pound-feet more torque. The only good thing with the AP2 is that you get more linear torque. So you don't necessarily get that big VTEC curve, which, it's nothing crazy, but it does, it does a little bit in these cars. A little bit more noticeable than like a Civic. But, yeah, you get 8 pound-feet more torque, but it is more linear. So you can look at it that way and, argue that an AP2 is better or whatever. But, like I said, in my opinion, AP1's a better car. AP2's maybe a better daily. It's kind of more of a watered down S2000 as far as it was made for, more so for the American market, after the Americans were complaining and stuff like that about not having enough torque or having to rev out to 9,000 or it being uncomfortable or too stiff or having to snap oversteer. So you got things like that where they had to kind of adjust for the American market. Now, unfortunately, the vehicle is no longer sold after 2009. I'm not sure them bringing it back would necessarily be the greatest thing in the world either, due to the fact that, modern Honda's kind of lost, I feel like, their character and their charisma. So, it might be better that this car stays the way it is. It's more of a legend and more of a, be a little kind of reminisce on or drive. But if you haven't drove one, first of all, if you don't know how to drive manual, absolutely learn how to drive manual. I try learning in a Civic or get something cheap and learn that way. It's so worth it. And then on top of that, if you can ever even test drive one of these or drive a buddy's or something like that, I highly recommend it. This is absolutely, probably easily the greatest car I've ever drove. And I've drove like a GT350 and I've been in like an Evo with 500 horsepower. I've rode motorcycles for 5 years or so now. And then, like I said, I've had 350Zs, I've drove Infinitis, I've drove some other basic stuff. Nothing exotics, no Corvettes. So I know you guys will probably be in the comments saying a Corvette's better or whatever, this is better, and that's totally fine. Like I said, we all have our own opinions. We're all entitled to feel our own ways. I just kind of wanted to share, what this vehicle is to me and what it makes me feel. So, if that's something you guys are interested in, absolutely, subscribe. We're going to see a lot more of this content. Maybe not so much of the driving content unless that's got something you guys are interested in. I'm more focused on the track days and the actual like how-to videos, the DIY DIY videos. Hopefully I can help you guys, you know, learn how to work on your own, or how to do your own modifications, or if I can teach anything to even one person. To me, that's a cool feeling to be able to do that. So, you know, if you guys, just let me know in the comments if you guys want to see kind of more of I guess a review video, or if you guys want to see, you know, more track stuff or more how-to videos. Like I said, I was probably trying to get a balance of everything in for now, and just kind of, you know, and show my life, you know, show the things I do. Not that it's anything, you know, super crazy or super fascinating, but, you know, like I like cars, bikes, guns, motorcycles. I like drifting. I like racing. I like, you know, going fast. You know, cruising. Everything's fine to me. So I'm pretty versatile on stuff. I mean, I take my truck off-roading and stuff like that. So you know that stuff too for the truck guys. But yeah, I just want to kind of give a little overview on the channel, a little bit overview on me, and a little bit overview on the car. And then, you know, like I said, some of the things like I love and hate about this thing. So let's touch up on that a little bit, I suppose. A lot of the things I love, I mean, there's not really much that first of all, there's not really much that I hate, but I mean, pretty much everything about this car I love. I mean, it could have maybe an actual glove box, I suppose, is something that, you know, I could say I hate about it. But even that, I mean, like I said in the last video, and in case you guys didn't see the last video and don't know about the secret storage up here, you know, you get that, and then you get the trunk, obviously, and, you know, I mean, it's a little, you know, sports car. It's not supposed to be anything crazy, or, you know, it's not a truck. So, you know, they all kind of have their own, you know, different purposes or whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, this car, like I said, it's got its own personality. It's a car that, even when I haven't had, I've always dreamed of. Even when I've had in the past, I've always dreamed of. And, you know, I had to go out and test drives a couple times just to kind of, you know, get that itch out of driving it. And it's puts the biggest smile on my face, especially when I'm driving with the top down and out on some, you know, nice Florida road on a nice day. It's kind of a surreal feeling. And really, tracking this car is a complete surreal feeling. I mean, it's not even a describable feeling to me to describe tracking this car. So I mean, it's like everything goes away. You don't have stress, you don't have anxiety, you don't have all your other issues that you have to deal with day to day. So I mean, I highly recommend it. I mean, even if you can't afford an S2000, I mean, I think right now, as of July 2024, the market's a little bit down on them, but I mean, it fluctuates. It goes up and down. You know, I sold my last one for $8,000 back in 2018, something like that, and then the market shot up, and yeah, I was kicking myself for that one. And then I kind of bought this one on the higher end of the market, and now the market's dropped a little bit. So I mean, it'll fluctuate, and, you know, just, you know, hold your breath for it, wait. It's definitely worth it. Absolutely worth it, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, if there's anything else that you guys want to, you know, kind of ask questions of, just ask them in the comments. I'll try to respond to everybody the best I can. I shouldn't have any issues with responding to people due to the fact that the channel is new, so there's not going to be thousands of comments. But, you know, if you guys want to see more of anything, like I said, just drop comments below. If you want to know a little bit more about what I love or hate, you know, I won't be, you know, driving as distracted, so I'll be able to respond a little bit better to the comments. But yeah, I just wanted to add another video, show you guys the car, kind of talk about myself, introduce myself to the channel, and yep, I'll see you guys in the next one.